Welcome back to the channel and for another commander deck. And this time is the Peace Offering Group Hug +1/+1 counters. Commander will be this rabbit lady, I think. Yeah, Mrs. Bumbleflower. Mrs. Bumbleflower manages three cities most popular in, as well as its pot of never-ending stew. All travelers are welcome. So it's a green, blue, and white deck that we are going to see what is inside. Starting with the surprise sentence here: more bunny, more problems. What does that mean? So I know this deck is like offering things to others and benefit from that. But let's see the rest of the deck. So inside, if you're not aware of these things, you have this envelope where you will find a deck box that you need to unfold like this, and voila, the deck box to hold your deck, sleeved, and the tokens. And then Wizards is always very friendly to include a collector booster sample pack here. Let's see how lucky I am today with the Valet Quest color red card with this artwork. And there's a land here, the Lupin Flower Village. Okay, so I don't know the cards in order to say something about them. Then the deck is hidden here. Don't forget to punch out the tokens. Okay, these two as well. You can store it in the box. And there's the deck. And there's this piece of paper which reminds everyone commander rules. If you are new and you wanna, then this is your entry point. You have the commander rules, some of the deck strategy there, and on the other side, you have some flavor, some lore about this commander. So I always like to read this. So let's go quickly. Graceful, gracious, and generous Mrs. Bumbleflower is the owner and proprietor of 3 City's most popular inn and its signature pot of never-ending stew. This utterly massive cauldron. Do you see the cauldron there? We don't. Oh, no, it's not that. From the description, it's not that. This utterly massive cauldron sits on the hearth at all times, where guests are free to take from and add as they see fit. Mr. Bubbleflower can be found tidying up the inn or striking up a friendly conversation on the grocery run. Even the most hardened and rambunctious guests dare not to offend her, either because of her kind nature or the fear of offending everyone in town. Mr. Bumbleflower inherited the hint from her mother, a retired pirate, who founded the establishment as a safe place for animal folk to rest. To this day, Mr. Bumbleflower is frequently visited by her mother's friends, who regale her with adventurous stories of the past and even help out around the inn. It's perhaps because of these burly and protective friends that Mr. Foxglove has a hard time courting her, but not that Miss Bumbleflower realize it is. Okay, Mr. Foxglove, Fox and Bunnies doesn't seem to go that well. Let's see if we can find Mr. Fox here on the deck. Let's take a look at the deck. Let me just take things out of the focus in order to help here. Yep. That's it. We start with the commanders. So there are 3 cards. We'll see all of them, starting with Miss Bumbleflower. 4 mana, 1/5, very good for defending, vigilance. Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gains flying until the end of the turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved, you draw 2 cards. So you draw 1 card. No, sorry, the opponent draws a card. So everyone, you'll be a friend of everyone, giving cards in order to put a +1 in the flying. And if this is the second time, you are the one drawing cards. Very good. Oh, there it is. There he is. The Mr. Foxglove. Oh, looks like a musketeer. It's a Fox Rook with lifelink 5, 3/5 lifelink whenever Mr. Foxglove attacks. Draw cards. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in the defending player hands minus the number of cards in your hand. If you didn't draw cards this way, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So always advantages, lifelink, yeah. So it works very different. Two different, completely different strategies here. And so also these commander decks, they bring an extra foil card. That's why it's separated from the rest of the deck. And in this case, is Tamio. Tamio as an animal here, Planeswalker, that choose up to 2 targets until next turn. Whenever either of those creatures deals combat damage, you draw a card. Good for drawing. And tap up to 2 non-target non-lands. They don't untap. And the ultimate will be you draw 3 cards, you get an emblem with you may cast spells from your hand without paying mana cost. Only on 7. Only on 7, but when you have it, you can only go up once every turn unless you have tricks, proliferates, or stuff like that. But it looks like a good card. Let me take the tokens out. And now, oh, poison counters! Poison counters! Here comes a proliferation. Let's see the deck. Tenuous Truce. An enchantment at the beginning of enchantment player's end step. You and that player draw a card. Whenever you attack enchanted opponent player or planeswalker it controls, or when they attack you, you sacrifice these. Okay, okay, so that's why the truth, right? I get it now, So I give you an extra card, but you don't attack me. So cool. Lauren of the Third Path. Vigilance. When Lauren of the Third Path enters, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. And then you tap this guy, and you and target opponent each draw a card. In order to convince people. Stillbird Champion. Oh, offspring, so you can multiply, you can come with another copy. Vigilance. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 on this creature. So he will grow a lot indeed. And then you give him fly because of the commander and on your face. Tempt with bunnies. Tempting offer. What's this? Draw a card and create a 1/1 rabbit token. Then each opponent may draw a card and create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token. For each opponent who does, you draw a card and you create another white rabbit creature token. I'm not sure if opponents will want to create tokens, but Purge Protect, but at least you draw a card. Gift an extra turn. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast a spell. If you do, they take an extra turn after this one. It's an instant, so you can do that on their turn. And create 4 2/2 bird creatures with flying. If the gift was promised, so that's what the 6 mana do, it's create 4 2/2 birds. But then if you give the extra turn, all permanents you control phase out, and until your next turn, your life total can change and you gain protection from everything. And you exile Purge Protection. Okay, so basically you give the gift and you say, hey, take this extra turn, I'm out. So it's all yours. And that player will use the birds and everything else to attack another player and kill it. Sunscorch Regent. Flying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a +1 counter on Sunscorch and you gain 1 life. Promise of Loyalty. Each player puts a vow counter on a target creature, they control, and sacrifice the rest. Each of those creatures can't attack you or your opponent's walker. You control for as long as it has a vow counter. Okay, so it's kind of a board wipe, but everyone keeps a creature that cannot attack you. Those are cool cards. Play it on the right moment, those are indeed cool cards. Whenever you draw a card, you may put a off print counter on off prints of the stack. Then you remove 4 and you create a 4/4 elemental with flying. Yeah, to create flyers. Oh, there's a mythic here. Mangar the Diplomat, which doesn't look like coming from Bloomburrow. To 4 lifelink, whenever an opponent attacks with creature, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and your planeswalkers, you draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell, you draw a card. So cards. Realm Cloaked Giant, a 7/7. So yes, this guy's there with the fields. 7 mana, and before he can go on adventure, destroy all non-giant creatures. So on 5th, you destroy all the non-giant creatures, and then on 7, he comes back with Vigilance. Sphinx of Enlightenment. When Sphinx of Enlightenment enters, target opponent draws a card and you draw 3 cards. Okay. Forgotten Ancient. Whenever a player casts a spell, you may put a +1 here. At the beginning of your end keep, you may move any number of +1 counters from Forgotten Ancient into other creatures. Okay, so it generates the counters and then it distributes. The Bloodroot Apothecary. Toxic 2. Ooh, here comes the Toxic. When it enters, you create treasure tokens, and whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-creature token, that player gets 2 poison counters. Poison. Communal Brewing. When Communal Brewing enters, any number of target opponents each draw a card. Then you put an ingredient counter on Communal Brewing, then put an ingredient counter on it for each card drawn this way. Whenever you cast a creature spell, that creature enters with plus additional X's, +1s, where X is the number of. That's a good enchantment. Do you want the card? Take it. But then all my creatures would come with +1 counters just because of that decision. There's a Hydrator. Whenever you cast a spell, it goes up. Okay, as expected. Rishkar, Pima Renegade. When enters, put a +1 on 2 target creatures. And then each turn, you control. With each creature you control. Oh, so everything produces mana, almost. Rites of Flourishing. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Okay, that sounds good. Each player may play an additional land on each of their turns. So where's the catch? What's the catch here? So yeah, you're just giving more options to everyone, including you. I guess that's it. I guess that's it. Tempt with Discovery. Okay, look at the artwork. They're looking there from the top of the mountain. Tempting offer. Search your library for a land card and put it on the battlefield. Then each opponent may search a library for a land card. For each opponent to search, search a library for another land. Okay. That's cool because, yeah, this has the potential to work a lot, especially for Mana Screws opponents. They will accept that for sure. Colonian Hydra. 5 only, 0/0 trample, comes with 4 +1s. When he attacks, doubles the number of counters. Pretty powerful. Yes, trample, right, yes. So, Bloomburrow Helder. Vigilance gets +1 for each color among permanents you control, which would be 3, probably. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. Okay, so then he ends up giving 3 mana. Simic Ascendancy. What's happening there? He's being attacked by some kind of ooze creature. So an enchantment, put a +1 counter on a creature control whenever one or more +1 counters are put on creatures you control. Put that many growth counters here, and then at the beginning of your keep, if some Ascendancy has 20 or more counters, you win the game. Okay, so an alternative way to win the game. Kirapur or rarity. It's a clock. Looks like a clock or a planetary system. Orrery, I don't know what Orrery is. Each player may play an additional land each turn. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player who has no cards in hand, he draws 3 cards. Psychosis Coroller. Power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. Just because of that, it's good. Okay, then we have some lands here to do the dual mana, or 3 mana in this case. So I'll just move here a bit faster. The brush lands. Okay. Lots of lands. Lots of entering tapped. Then, what? 3 Sky Decaphil. No maximum size. If you have 13 cards in your hand, exactly 13 cards, you win the game. And then you can draw a card. Okay, so another alternative way. So basically you are making everyone's friends and you set up these alternative ways of winning. No one notices that. Everyone is focused on attacking. You are not a target because of all the things we've seen, and then you win from these alternative conditions. The Chasm Sulker. Octomancer. Gift an octopus. You may promise opponent a gift as you cast a spell. If you do, when it enters, you create an 8/8 octopus creature. Okay, and at the beginning of each end step, create a token that is a copy of target creature that entered the battlefield this turn, which includes the 8/8 octopus. So you get one, you give another one, and then you're set up for all the creatures to create copies. Okay, I want to see the 8/8. Let's take a look at the 8/8. And this way we already see the tokens as well. Right, there's a shark. Will there be a Sharknado? Fish. Octopus, there it is. 8/8. And there's the squeeze. 20 toad. Intellectual offering. Illusionist's gambit. Body of knowledge. Perplexing test. Jolrel. Monolly recluse. Fisher's talent. Selvala. Okay. Quain itinerant meddler. A rabbit creature. Coveted jewel. Source of plowshares. Secret rendezvous. You and target opponent each draw 3 cards. Beard, Steward of Argive. Vigilant creature can attract your player's well unless you pay. Okay, so it's a kind of a propaganda. But on but for only one. An offer you can refuse. Counter target non-spell creature and control creates 2 tokens. It's cheap, but he gets 2 tokens. The Wizard. Broken Wings. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying specifically. Spore Frog, Wear Down, Peerless Recycling, Coiling Oracle, Riot Control, Martial Impetus, Jolly Gerbills. Whenever you give a gift to draw a card, there's a gift immediately after target spell. If the gift was promised, instead counter creature spell. But if you give a gift, you counter the spell itself. Gift a card, so they draw a card. Okay, so the card is coming from the deck. That makes sense. Boots, Fellow War, Soul, Mind Stone. And I guess we are getting in here into the end where we have the normal cards, the baselands, islands, and forests. There we go. That's it. Hey. So, what's your opinion on Peace Offering? Very peaceful deck indeed. You maybe focus on your stuff, and then the opponents are killing each other. You're building your game, and then you trust, give the final strike, and you win with the flying commander getting +1/+1. I think so far all the videos from Bloomburrow they look like cool decks, so I'm hoping to have the chance to experience all of them. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video as well. If so, then don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel for and the algorithm for more people to find these videos. And I have a playlist fully dedicated to Magic the Gathering, which I invite you to see, as well as for the other old major card games out there and board games in general. So I truly believe you will find interesting content to consider subscribing and be part of this community for future videos. Thank you very much in advance for that, and I hope to see you on the next videos. Goodbye.